Hey guys, what's going on? It's Erik here, and welcome to another video game review. This is gonna be the third review that I've done. I'm not sure when this will go up though, because I haven't uploaded the other two video game reviews. Sometime soon you'll see this. If you see this, well, hello. The game I'm gonna be reviewing today is gonna be Uncharted 1, or as they call it, Uncharted 1 Drake's Fortune, I think it's called, which is about Nathan Drake's quest to find El Dorado. Well, without further ado, let's get started. Gameplay wise, Uncharted 1 is just basically the typical third person shooter as Uncharted 3 and all that. However, unlike Uncharted 3, I felt Uncharted 1 was probably one of the easiest third person shooters out there. Now granted, that doesn't mean I didn't die a lot, which is something that Uncharted has been known for having a ridiculous amount of enemies just shooting at you, and sometimes some of them actually having bullshit attacks. But then again, that's just everything you would expect. But it was definitely easier than Uncharted 1, which is surprising, because I remember hearing about how Uncharted 1 was harder than Uncharted 3. Then again, I could be wrong, but it's the same as always. Just the usual stuff: solve puzzles, kill enemies, climb, do parkour and all that. So I can honestly say that it was definitely easier, and I definitely found it still pretty much enjoyable as I did the third game. Moving on. Story-wise, Uncharted 1 definitely had a more interesting story, as it kind of tackled on like the legendary El Dorado, which instead of it being a golden city, it is a golden statue. And it kind of had to pull in the whole supernatural twist that you would expect. And it was definitely an intriguing one, though I do admit I do not like the idea that they had to use Nazis as sort of a way to bring in a supernatural twist. Now granted, you got a chance to see Nathan Drake's kind of charismatic personality, and you also got to see his interactions with Sully and Elena. It was definitely interesting. But then again, I can also see why they had to kind of improve upon it from like the second and third games, because I felt like he didn't really do anything differently compared to other protagonists from other third-person shooters and all that. But I will admit, he is definitely the stereotype for charismatic, more or less better looking characters in video games. Hey, what are you gonna do? In terms of its, like I said, in terms of the story with El Dorado, it was actually pretty interesting. Definitely liked what they were going with it. In terms of its actual villains, yeah, pretty meh to be honest. You didn't really interact with the villains at all, and the villains in and themselves were kind of very generic. They were very stale. They didn't really have any sort of real motives other than, hey, sell it to the highest bidder and all that. Like, I honestly felt like the game's villains were just pretty bad. And even one of the side villains was probably more of a interesting character than anybody else. And I felt like Sully didn't really have as much screen time in the game in comparison to like Uncharted 3 and all that. Then again, that was because they had to develop Nathan and Elena, which was okay, I guess. But the story could have been definitely better. Could have been better, at least in my opinion. Like, the writing was pretty good, but they could have at least done better. Moving on. Uncharted 1 definitely handles itself pretty well, manages to create a story a la Indiana Jones, but in a way that actually feels pretty intense, it actually feels pretty good, and actually has a more likable character than Indiana Jones. No offense to the Indiana Jones fans out there. It actually has aged well in comparison to other third-person shooters from the same era, not counting the Call of Duty franchise, because that's been the same for everything. Or the Gears of War, like, there's a lot of different third-person shooters out there, but they haven't really aged well. This one definitely has. it still remains a fun and entertaining game to play. It's definitely challenging, even in normal mode. And honestly, I can give if I had to give it a rating, I would at least still give it like an 8 out of 10. So I felt like they could have at least, because it was still like the first game, like they still had a lot of flaws. Like there were a lot of moments where I just didn't really know, like they didn't really give a good idea about, which was probably my own fault, but still. There was a lot of moments where like I felt like the controls were definitely wonky. And it was still bullshit about the amount of times you could kill an enemy and they wouldn't die as much. But hey, that's Uncharted for you. Well, with this interview done, I'm gonna sign off now. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know if this video is gonna come out before or after the Uncharted Free review, but we'll see. I am currently still playing Uncharted 2 as of me recording this, so if you guys don't see a Uncharted 2 review, that's why. I'll also be doing a review on Undertale and Kingdom Hearts 1 sometime soon, and that's about it. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Like the idea was definitely interesting. Like,
Throbbing hearts will always ever